Alright, what's up everybody? Carlos Collects Comics here, and I'm excited to do another video with you. It's been a week or so, but I wanted to get back on it. I got a new camera in and looking forward to providing some more content for you. And finally wanted to deliver on this video that is going to cover my top 10 picks for G.I. Joe back issues that you should be picking up right now. And I've also got some honorable mentions for you. So here we go. Alright, so number one on my list is number one, G.I. Joe number one. It's the first appearance of Cobra Commander, Baroness, Snake Eyes, Scarlet, Hawk, Grunt, Breaker, Rock and Roll, Stalker, Zap, Short Fuse, and General Flag. So the entire original lineup of the G.I. Joe team appears in issue number one, including fan favorite Snake Eyes. And with the Snake Eyes origin film coming out, and them focusing more on that character and developing some additional things with the intellectual property, this is definitely the issue to get. We've seen it continuing to rise in value. Right now, 9.8s have broken $1,000 and are continuing to skyrocket. So that is definitely a book to pick up. I recommend looking for a high-grade raw copy that's a first print and making sure that you can get that. You know, newsstand or direct, I'm not really that big of a stickler on which one. I know some people tend to pay more and look more heavily for the newsstands because they are in some cases more rare, but you know, really I think for a book like this, either one is going to be a great choice for you. Alright, number two on my list is G.I. Joe number 14, and that's the first full appearance of Destro. As you know, Destro is one of the main iconic villains with that metal mask, and here we see him in number 14. We see him showing up on the cover, and this was his first full appearance. Now, he had two prior appearances in number 11 and 13. He had two small cameo appearances, but his first full appearance was in G.I. Joe issue number 14. And now this book is still a reasonable price to me, a reasonable price. In high grade is something $100 or less, and you can definitely still find this copy or this book out there for that price. All right. Next on my list is number 21. This is an iconic cover and an iconic book. The reason being, this is called the silent issue. There's no dialogue in it. The entire story is told simply through images, which I love. Being somebody who's into media and film and TV, I just love to see that type of artistry. It's also the first full appearance of Storm Shadow, and as you know, Storm Shadow is the opposite to Snake Eyes, and he's another fan favorite ninja character. He was the bad ninja character to Snake Eyes' good ninja character in the cartoon series and in the comic books, and the movies as well. Next on my list is number 22. Now this has a really cool cover, but this is one of my real big picks that I want you to pay attention to, and that's because this is the first full appearance of Duke and Roadblock. Now, while those characters have been explored as portrayed in the recent movies, those are very, very front-level characters, and a lot might not realize that in the comics they didn't appear until issue number 22. They did not appear for the first time in issue 1. There was a lot of other characters like Snake Eyes and Scarlet and Cobra Commander that are top-level G.I. Joe characters, but Duke and Roadblock didn't show up until number 22. If the Lady J series that's been talked about and announced does move forward into production, you can bet that Duke and Roadblock are going to show up in some way, shape, or form. The same for the Snake Eyes movie, if they continue to pursue it and do a soft reboot of the franchise that way. But Duke and Roadblock are two major characters, and I highly recommend picking that book up while it's still affordable. Next on my list is number 25, G.I. Joe number 25. It's the first full appearance of Zartan. He's that fan favorite chameleon character who's the master of disguise. But it's not just Zartan. It's also the first appearance of Deep Six and Mutt and Junkyard, the dog and the canine officer and dog that showed up in the toy series and the cartoon series. And then also it's the first full team appearance of the Dreadnoks, and those were Zartan's crew that would go with him and wreak all kinds of havoc. And those were pretty memorable characters, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see them show up in some way, shape, or form in media moving forward. The next one, now this is one that's come into a lot of attention. The price on this has shot up. I saw 9.8 just go for a little over $200 on eBay. It's G.I. Joe number 32. It's the first full appearance of Lady J, as well as Blowtorch and Ripcord. There is a rumored or an announced show being developed that focuses on the Lady J character. It would be within the G.I. Joe universe, but it would focus on the Lady J character. And so a lot of people ran after this one and are looking for this one. Has driven the price up, but I don't think it's the only one that you should be paying attention to. As I mentioned earlier, G.I. Joe number 22, the first appearance of Duke and Roadblock, is absolutely something that's going to be primed for that show, as well as my next pick, which is number 37, G.I. Joe number 37, which is the first full appearance of Flint, Footloose, Tomax, and Zaymont. Now, Flint is a character that has always gone hand in hand with Lady J. They always show up on film or cartoon or comic together. They've been partners and they've worked together in most missions, and those two characters are just always together. So my rationale for recommending this pick is that if they're going to develop a Lady J centric show, I'm really thinking that Flint is going to be a part of that. I think they're going to introduce him and bring him into it, and he's going to be a part of the show as part of her supporting cast. So I recommend it. You know, you can still find those issues for $6. There is a first and a second print. They are indistinguishable. Well, there's a little bit of difference in the little box with the date and the price. Otherwise, on the inside, it does say second printing for it. But I've picked up a few, both first and second prints, and I also got a slab 9.6 first print for only for a very low price. So that's my big pick right now, is if you see a G.I. Joe number 37, go ahead and pick it up. Alright, next on my list is of G.I. Joe books that you should be picking up right now is number 49. This is a little bit of a guilty pleasure book because it's the first appearance and origin of Serpentor, which the creator Larry Hama was not a big fan of when the cartoon series introduced him. And when he came out as an action figure, but I've always thought he's a really neat character, and if he was reimagined properly, I think he could be a really fun character that we could see show up in either the TV show or any of the movies moving forward. But it's also the first appearance of Lift Ticket, Slipstream, and Leatherneck, which were three other supporting G.I. Joe characters. Next on my list is number 59, which was the first appearance of Jinx, Tunnel Rat, Outback, Raptor, and the Blind Master. Jinx and the Blind Master have already shown up in films, and they're also tied into the Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow backstory. So anything to do with Snake Eyes and his origin or supporting characters for him are also good pickups right now, because there's been a long gestating Snake Eyes solo film that's been talked about, and he is the most popular G.I. Joe character by far, so it makes sense that they would move forward with doing something with that character. The last one on my list of the top 10 G.I. Joe back issues that you should be picking up is number 155. It's the final issue. It's an iconic cover, and it's a low print run, so finding a copy in high grade is pretty difficult, and we've seen the price on that continuing to rise. I think it's broken at $180, $200 in high grade, and it's continuing to go up because they are scarce and hard to come by. So those are the top 10, but I also want to hit a few honorable mentions, and those honorable mentions are G.I. Joe number 6 is the first appearance of the October Guard, which was the Russian equivalent of G.I. Joe. As I mentioned earlier in the video, the two first cameo appearances of Destro, number 11, that's my pick. Number 13 is the second cameo, but if you want the first cameo appearance of Destro, one of my honorable mention picks is number 11, but it's also the first Doc, Gung Ho, Airborne, and Snow Job appearances. Numbers 26 and 27 of the G.I. Joe series, I put those together, and the reason for that is because together it's a two-part origin story for Snake Eyes, and again, with there being a potential Snake Eyes prequel or soft reboot that's going to focus on that character, this is definitely a book to focus on right now, or these two books are definitely good ones to pick up, and they are on my list of books that that one should be picking up. Other honorable mentions: number 40, G.I. Joe number 40, which is the first appearance of Shipwreck and Barbecue. Shipwreck's a comedic relief character used a lot in the cartoon series, and I could see them doing something interesting with him, bringing him into live action. Number 44 was the first appearance of Bazooka, Crankcase, Airtight, Heavy Metal, and Bats, which I think was the androids for the Cobra Army. That's another honorable mention because it has a lot of characters, and Bazooka was another fun, popular comedic relief character. The last honorable mention that I have, I really went back and forth about whether or not to include this in my top 10 list. I think it's an important issue, and the reason is because G.I. Joe is essentially a war comic. But for it being a comic book about war and about soldiers, there was actually surprisingly few deaths throughout the entire 155 issue run. But issue number 109, I call it the death issue because it featured the death of quite a few characters from the series, including Doc, Heavy Metal, Thunder, Crankcase, Breaker, Crazy Legs, and Quick Kick. And they were killed in two specific incidents, but it was all happened within that one issue. And this was a big, it's a big deal for them to kill off kids' characters like this. But it's a comic book about war and about soldiers, so it makes sense. So that's those are my picks for the top 10 G.I. Joe back issues that I think you should be picking up right now. I'd love it if you could leave a comment and let me know if you learned something new, or if you got turned on to a different issue that maybe you weren't looking at before, or maybe if you even found a good deal on a couple of these back issues, or tell me maybe if you have any of them and how you came upon them. But make sure to like the video, leave some kind of a comment, and consider subscribing, because I'm going to be shooting a lot more videos of hints and tips and different books that I think you should be picking up, some reviews, some pop culture stuff, and we even maybe have a few YouTube guests dropping by, as well as interviews with comic creators. So thanks again for tuning in. This is Carlos Collects Comics, and it's been good to be with you right now.